Hi friends, I am so excited. Guess what I found when I was in the Dollar Tree recently? Yes, these are globes. They're like orbs that we can do all kinds of creative things with, and I'm going to show you how to put this together. I'm Diane with South House Designs, and I'm very excited that you're here. Look, there is not much to that.
Each sphere comes with two pliable silver frames that hold the 4 circles or the 8 arms evenly spaced. And you can place these on the outside of the sphere or inside. I'm doing the inside of the sphere to get you a better look at what I'm going on. Now let's zoom in closer so you can really see exactly what I'm doing. Using your fingertips or needle nose pliers, wrap the flaps on each arm of the silver frame around each arm of the sphere. Now it will all be held even. It's just as easy as that. I think this is absolutely genius, whoever came up with this.
Two of them. So I could put this one down here, but I don't feel like it's necessary for what I'm going to be doing with it. But isn't that cool? I'm going to try and find our heavy tin snips and cut this a little bit shorter here so it doesn't show so much. And I might cut that one off a little bit shorter too. You can also paint them. And coming up real soon, I'll show you what I'm going to do with it on the first go around.
But first we need to preserve some leaves. So start gathering your leaves. I gathered a large batch of Japanese maple leaves from our tree and flattened and dried them between paper towels under heavy weights. After a couple of days, on wax paper, I added a coat of Mod Podge on the back side of each leaf. Okay, just a little side note here. If you're right-handed like I am, please don't do what I just did. I can't believe I did this. Do not start at the bottom on the right-hand side because then your hand is always in the glue. Start at the left side up at the top and work your way down. I don't know what got into me. Now some of these we'll use for the glowing leaf orbs, like these. Now more will be used for the leaf globe, like this, and even more will be used as fall accent fillers, like on the table or as part of a shelf display, maybe scattered around a grouping of pumpkins or as part of a fall tray, or, well, so many different ways. The glowing orbs are clear Christmas ornaments decoupaged with fall leaves, and they sit over the flameless battery-operated votives, which are hidden in these leather sleeves with brass rivets I made. The bulbs I used were frosted, so they have a matte, almost suede-like look that I really like with the leaves and the linen and the leather. It keeps that earthy feel versus a glossy ornament. The one on the right was my first one. I like it when it's dark, but when it's lighter, the clear glass looks cool-toned with no warm glow. So I decided to glaze the inside of the bulbs to give it a warm glow day or night. Paint alone will block the light of the votive, so I combined a glazing compound. I used one from Valspar, and I'll list it in the description below, with a tiny amount of craft paint and water. Swirled around inside to coat the bulb, and then drained it upside down overnight. Plus, I used a hair dryer to make sure it was really good and dry. Now back to our leaves. So far, they only have one coat of Mod Podge on the back. I chose 3 to 4 of the smaller leaves and experimented with their placement. Now here's a hint for leaf placement. The easiest way to prop your Mod Podge coated ornament to dry is to insert it on a pencil poked into a thick cardboard box. So looking ahead to that, consider having a leaf cover the very center top of your ornament. This will hide any potential smudges of the glaze inside, as it takes a really long time to thoroughly dry. So to apply your leaves to your ornament, I found the easiest way was to add a good coating to the bulb itself and then add my leaf on. And at places, I needed to add some more paint or Mod Podge to the back of the leaf too. And then you go through and with some good pressure, you add the layer of Mod Podge on top. That finishes up the preserving of the leaf by its now being completely coated on the front and the back, and it acts as the finish also. Then I also went over and I added the Mod Podge between the leaves on the bulb to give the entire bulb the same finish and look. In case the brush strokes showed, I wanted them to show consistently around the bulb. It's really that easy. While your ornaments are drying, this is a good time to make the leather sleeves to encase the votive candles. They are designed to hide the votive as well as hide the neck of the bulb. So that distance was for my ornaments was a ½ inch. I needed above the height of the votive, the top of the votive that the neck sits on. I made my leather a ½ inch taller. That's for the shortest one. And then I made two more that were a little bit taller, and I just propped the votive up a little bit higher inside the sleeve with something propped underneath it so that the flame would be up inside the ornament. I've done a coat of Mod Podge on the face of the leaves in preparation for the globe now.
My leaves are dry on both sides now, and some of them are laying nice and flat and will really do a beautiful job. I'm going to go ahead and add an extra layer of Mod Podge to the face of it just to give it a little bit more strength, because there won't be anything behind these. They're going to be just hot glued to a wire down the center of them. So I just want to give them a little bit more strength behind them, a little bit more to that leathery feel. Now this one you can see is curling up. This one's curling up significantly. On those, I'm going to actually, these kind of feel like leather almost, and I'm going to force them down. And if the tendency is for them to curl up that way, I'm going to add that extra layer onto the back side. Each side has one coat, so that's the preservative. They are preserved now, cutting off the air. And so this time, this is just for extra strength. So it doesn't matter which side really I put it on. So I'm going to put it on this side so that they can lay face down and help to keep them from curling up so much as they dry.
The leaves are all dry now, and it's just a matter of selecting the ones that I want to use by size and color, and then gently pulling them off of the waxed paper, and then lining them up for this next project. Because I planned to cover every other arm of the globe completely, I arranged my leaves based on color and size into 4 rows 16 inches long. I arranged them so the largest leaves start at each pole and then gradually get smaller as they meet in the middle. I also like the look better when the leaves did not line up exactly along the frame, but rather with a little bit of a twist so they appear a little more random, like falling leaves or maybe even leaves in your garden. The 4 complete arms are done, and now I decided that I need to add an extra leaf or 2 at the poles on the alternating arms. So I tested which ones would fit in there, and then added the dollop of hot glue and laid them back in there. Where I had leaves overlapping, I also went back and added just a tiny bit of hot glue to hold them down. And then I went back to the poles and finished them off a little bit more. I went and added 2 or 3 of the smallest, brightest red leaves that I had set aside to finish off those poles really nicely, because those are really going to be one of the focal points of the orb. I don't show it here, but I also finished off the poles on the inside, because you do see through the globe and into the inside, and especially the end that had the silver frame on it. I covered those up, and I learned the first one I put the glue on the back side of the leaf and set it down. It's like, oh, wait a minute, we should be seeing the back side of the leaves here. So all the remaining ones, I glued the front side so that all the back sides are exposed on the inside of the orb. I hope that makes sense. I didn't get pictures of that one. Stay with me, because here we have a crafting experiment coming up. Can we save those Mod Podge leaves that curl up? Stick around and check it out.
I have a dish of ones that really curled up. This was the first batch of leaves I did where I put the first coat of Mod Podge on the back as soon as I got the leaves off the tree. I cut them, and while they were still very fresh, I put that first layer of Mod Podge on the back. Let them dry overnight. Actually, I think they sat for 2 days before I got back to them to turn them over and Mod Podge the other side. And they had dried up and really curled up into little balls. So I was trying to rescue them. I'm not sure it's going to work, but let's see. They might be just pretty laying in a dish as a filler, like in a dough bowl or scattered down the table as part of the centerpiece. That would be really pretty, quite honestly. Oh, I'm so glad I saved these. They're really charming. Wow, that turned out gorgeous.
Thanks for joining me today. I hope that you are inspired to break out your Mod Podge and go gather some leaves and bring fall throughout your home. Please join me again, and I hope that you'll subscribe and give me a thumbs up, please.